Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Assalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. Welcome to a new session of Quran for All. So, inshallah, we will be continuing with ayah number 23 of Surah Baqarah, inshallah. Let's do the verse for verse. Let's do the, sorry, word for word translation, inshallah. So, we start with wa in kuntum. So, we have wa in, which is an if. Wa is an in if. Kuntum, you were. Kuntum, you were. Fi raibin, this word raib, we've done this before. Doubt. So fi is in, raibin, doubt. Fi raibin, in doubt. And if you were in doubt, mimma, about what? Nazalna, we have sent down. Nazalna, we have sent down. The na here at the end shows us that this is the first person plural, which is referring to the we. We have sent down. Allah upon Abadina, our slaves. So here again we can see the na, but this time the na is connected, is attached to a noun, abd, which means slave. But it is again the first person plural, which is our, showing our. So Abdina, our slave. Fa'tu, then bring. Fa'tu, then bring. Bisuratin, a surah. Bring a surah. Mimithlihi, like it. Mimithlihi, like it. We've done a word similar to this before, which was masal. Okay, with a fatha on the mim. Masaluhum ka masalil ladis. His example is like the example of. So, but here we have a kasra on the mim, which is misal. The slight difference in meaning is that masal is an example. Example is something by means of which we can understand a concept. That's an example. And misal is something that is equivalent or similar to something else. So mislihi is similar to, equivalent to, or like it. Okay, wada'u, and call, from da'awa, root letters, wada'u, and call, shuhada'akum, shuhada'a, witnesses, of the plural of a witness, kum, your witnesses, min dunillahi, min duni, other than, min duni, other than, Allahi, in kuntum, again in here, which we started with, which was if. So in kuntum, if you are sadiqin, truthful, if you are indeed truthful. So let's take a closer look at what the verse is telling. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts with wa in kuntum fi raibin, right? So if you are in doubt, mimma nazzalna, about what we have sent ala abdina, upon our slave, upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So if you are in doubt regarding the Quran, the previous verse, as we saw, ended with, it ended with saying that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us that, right, you very well know that it ended with wa antum ta'lamun. And so, but here now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling, in spite of knowing, in spite of the fact that even in spite of that, if you have a doubt, okay, then now why don't you bring up a surah like it? Okay, فَأْتُوا بِسُورَةٍ مِّن مِّثْلِهِ. Why don't you bring a surah that is even something like it? Right? So now what we need to understand here is, like, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has been giving dawah for years now, right? Surah Al-Baqarah here is a Madani surah, so he has been giving dawah for quite some time now. And the disbelievers have been rejecting his message and calling him all sorts of things, calling him a madman, calling him a magician, and calling him a poet, and all kinds of things. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is now finally issuing a challenge to them, that if you think that this is the work of a madman, if you think this is the work of a poet or some magician, right, why don't you try coming up with something like this yourself, right? And the Arabs at that time, they used to really pride themselves on their linguistic abilities. They were masters of language. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, issuing an open challenge to them. Why don't you come up with something, right? And the challenge is not just with regards to bringing or producing something similar in grammatical structure, or something, making a statement or producing a verse that is similar in pattern, but it's also about producing something that has the same kind of effect. And equivalent is something, if you look up the terms, the term, you will find that something that is equivalent, a missile, is that it has the same kind of properties as, as the other thing. So, the Quran, it had the power to overwhelm people. When even when the disbelievers used to hear or listen to the recitation of the Quran, they used to be in tears. They used to be in tears. And even now, people's lives change, just listening to the Quran. That's the kind of effect, that's the kind of overwhelming effect that the Quran has, that the verses of the Quran have on people. So this challenge is telling them, those these people to not just produce something grammatically or linguistically similar, but something that has this kind of a profound effect on people. Can you bring something like this, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, issuing this challenge. And also, continuing with saying that, why wa'adu shuhada'akum, sorry, wad'u shuhada'akum, right? Bring your witnesses. So witnesses here can be understood by, in two ways. One is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking them, or rather telling them, that bring those people, for help. You can call on those people for help, those idols and those statues and your gods, and and your ilahs other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you are praying to. You can call on any one of them for help. And witnesses can also mean the experts, the language experts, the linguists. So in those times, people, these experts, they used to be called for as witnesses, uh, to testify, if something is authentic or not, if something is, correct or not. These experts, they used to be called as witnesses for that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, call on whomever you want, right? You can bring whomever you want, min dunillahi. Duna is, uh, other than Allah, but it can also mean who is lesser than Allah, right? Dun is also similar to adna, the word same root family, adna, which means something that is inferior. And so, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is kind of hinting here that, whomever you're going to call, they are always going to be inferior to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They can never match up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In kuntum sadiqin, if indeed you are truthful, right? So let's look at the next verse. So the next verse now tells, starts with for in again. So we have, then if, in if, fa then, fa in then if, lam taf'alu. Okay, taf'alu is the, you can say, the present and future tense, which in Arabic is known as the fail mudari, which includes the meaning of present and future tense. But with the addition of this word lam here, what happens is the present tense changes its meaning to the past tense. Okay, so we translate this as you did not. Fa'ala is to do, right? Root letters fa'ala, to do. Here, with the addition of lam, the meaning becomes you did not in the past tense. And then it continues, walan taf'alu, right? So same word here, taf'alu, again in the present tense or future tense, fe'l mudare. But now it is preceded by a lan. So what lan does is that it gives the meaning of future only, right? So like I mentioned, the mudare has the meaning of present and future both included in it, right? It depends on the context which meaning you apply. But with the addition of lan, the meaning is restricted to future tense only. And so it gives kind of like, it's a very sure, a very emphatic uh, future tense, that so you will never do. Okay, lan taf'alu, and you will never do. So first one was you did not do, which is the past tense. Second one is you will not do, right? So fattaqu, then protect yourself, right? Fattaqu, then protect yourself. Fa here is then, and ittaqu, protect yourself. Same again from coming from the same root letter family of like muttaqin, those who have taqwa, people of taqwa. So protect yourself. Fear, it can be also translated as then fear, right? The fire, an-nar is fire. Allati is the feminine version of alladhi. We've done the word alladhi before, So this is the feminine version, whose. Okay. So now, in the Arabic language, actually, all we can think of it this way. Allati here is feminine because it refers to an-nar, okay, because it's giving a description about the fire whose, and the description continues. So a nar here, the word nar or fire in the Arabic language is considered to be of feminine gender. So that's why instead of allazi, allati is brought here referring to a nar. So uh, allati whose, waquduha, its fuel, that's what something that is used to, uh, burn the fire. Mm, is what is the people, nas wal hijaratu stones, the stones. That has been prepared, it has been prepared. Lil kafirina, lam is for al kafirina, the disbelievers. It has been prepared for the disbelievers. So if we do the translation, for in, then if, lam taf'alu, you did not, walan taf'alu, and you will not, or you will never do. فَاتَّقُوا النَّارَ, then protect yourself from the fire. Uh, فَاتَّقُوا النَّارَ الَّتِي قُودُهَا النَّاسُ وَالْحِجَارَةُ, protect yourself from the fire whose fuel is people and stones. أُعِدَّتْ لِلْكَافِرِينَ, which has been prepared for the disbelievers. Let's take a closer look at what this verse is telling us. So now, referring to the challenge in the previous verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving, two scenarios. One is in the past tense, that, you were not able to do this in the past, right? And you will not do it in the future as well. You will not be able to come up with something like this. So now be prepared for this fire that has been prepared, this fire. And what kind of fire is this? So till now, we saw this word, used before also, which was like, muttaqeen, and we saw these kind of instances where it was said, protect yourself, be careful, or, be the people of taqwa. So, but it was not mentioned what we should protect ourselves from, right? It was not specifically mentioned. But now, the disbelief and, the hypocrisy and disbelief and the disobedience of the people has gone so far that, now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making the picture crystal clear for everyone, that, be prepared, you protect yourself, and fear the fire, and nar, whose fuel is stones and men, right? Not like fire in this world, where the fuel of the fire is generally wood or oil or gas, right? But here, the fuel of the fire is people and nas, right? Those people who disbelieved and who disobeyed, these people are the fuel of this fire. And hijaratun, stones, those stones these people were worshipping, making idols of, and, making gods of, and worshipping other than Allah. So these stones, uh, are the fuel, and these people are the fuel, which, they will burn along with these stones, and these stone idols will burn along with the people who disbelieved and worshipped other than Allah. وَإِدَّتْ لِلْكَافِرِينَ, it has been prepared for the disbelievers. This terrible fire has been prepared for the disbelievers. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us all, and never ever, we never ever become the people, or who are fated to be in this fire. And so we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us, Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.